In this video, I will talk about getting your adult Corydoras to spawn. Seems like everybody likes to do that, including me. So I'm going to pass along what works for me. Also, I will be using my Sterbai Corys and their tanks as examples. Although there are small differences between the species, the basic principles are the same. The steps are getting a breeding group of adult Corys, setting up your breeding tank, conditioning your Corys, and triggering them to spawn. Some of what it takes to get them to spawn is a bit of trying different triggers, but once you figure it out, you will be able to get them to spawn over and over again. For those of you who are concerned about raising your Corys and sexing them, I will make future videos about those topics. Step 1. Getting a breeding group of adult Corys. I think everybody has no problem with this step. But then they don't condition them, which I'll talk about later. So for this step, buy about 8 to 10 of the same type of Corys, grow them to adults. This might take you 6 months or more, so be patient. Odds are you will wind up with at least one male and one female out of this group, and that is the minimum that you need. Some recommend a higher ratio of males, but you need at least one male and one female. Next, the spawning tank. It is best that you raise the fish in the tank that you want to spawn them in. Adult Corys can release toxins in the water that can kill themselves if they get too scared. So if you wind up chasing them around one tank to move them to the spawning tank, you may wind up killing them or at least injuring them. You want to keep them feeling secure and happy in the tank they were raised in, with lots of other plants to hide behind and not too many other fish to bother them. When they are feeling secure and happy, they will feel more like spawning. I use dechlorinated tap water. The water temp is room temp, which is 82 degrees Fahrenheit during the day right now. I add 1/2 a catappa leaf, which simulates the natural environment and the natural tannins in the water, and some crushed coral to buffer the water and to add calcium for bone growth. Now let's talk about the food. Feed your Corys a good food for Corys, one that's high in protein and one that's basically designed for carnivores, not just algae wafers. Because in the wild, they go through and they sift through the gravel and the sand and they find little bugs in there that they eat. So they are definitely carnivores, although they do eat some other stuff. And here is what I feed mine. Hikari sinking pellets for carnivores and frozen bloodworms. Most fish love bloodworms, and my Sterbai just love them also. They also love those Hikari pellets for carnivores as well. So what I do is I feed them the 12 pellets of the Hikari food on one day, 2 cubes of frozen bloodworms thawed out on the next day, and then I go back to the 12 pellets of Hikari pellets, and I just keep repeating. Now here, by the way, is a view of the bloodworms thawed out. And they remind me of miniature earthworms, which are also loved by most fish. Next, you need to get the females full of eggs. This means a diet rich in protein and fat. The diet I gave you earlier works wonders for me. The females need to have lots and lots of eggs because this makes them look sexier to the males. I'm sure there's also hormones and pheromones put in the water by the eggs that also just gets everybody all ready to spawn. And the females are going to look much sexier to the males when they have lots of eggs. Then the males will start getting turned on and excited and start zipping around and so on and so forth. And that's going to turn the females on and so on and so forth. And soon they're going to start climbing the walls and getting zoomies. They don't always spawn when they get those zoomies and climb the walls and stuff, but it definitely means they're happy. But then sometimes when they do those zoomies, then they're going to spawn once you trigger them and get them, tell them it's time to spawn. That's going to be our next step, triggering them. Now it's time to trigger the fish. What we've all been wanting to do, we want to get those fish to spawn. So now that we're ready, we need to send a message to the fish that it is time to spawn. In the wild, these fish spawn at the beginning of the rainy season, so we need to simulate that for our fish. So what we want to do is we want to increase the circulation in our tank for that increased uh, water flow in the streams. And we want to lower the water temperature a little bit to simulate colder water coming into these stagnant pools and stuff like that in the Amazon. So we want to set it up so that after we do a water change, the new water, the resulting water is 10 degrees lower than it was originally. We also want to increase that flow. Many people increase that flow like I do. I've got a submersible pump with little suction cups that I attach to the top back of my tank, pointed to the front, and that definitely increases the flow. And then I also reduce the temperature on my water change. That triggers mine, and for most people that does trigger. Another thing I found that helps with the triggering is definitely give them a lot of food so that they really feel like there's extra food for the new babies to eat. Right here in this clip that I've got now, you can see the pump that I've got hanging in my aquarium in the upper right of the back of the aquarium. Notice how it's pointed toward the front. With time, triggering your Corys will get much, much, much easier. Mine don't need much triggering anymore. Basically, they just spawn when they feel like it. Basically, like when they get full of eggs, it seems like then they just spawn, and it doesn't really even matter what time of day. They've done it on the hottest day of the year, the hottest water temperature of the year. They just do it because they're happy. That's my belief. So now when they were difficult, though, they did have a time when they were difficult to spawn. I used to trigger them by letting them go for a month without a water change, which would simulate the dry spell before the wet season in the Amazon. And then when I added the water flow, then they definitely thought it was now time to spawn. Also, I would do a 50% water change at that time, so really to get rid of that old yucky water and get them some clean, fresh water. And I would make sure that my new temperature was about 10 degrees cooler, which simulates the influx of clean, fresh, cool water into the streams down there in the Amazon when it's time to breed. So that's it. Hopefully you're gonna get these fish to spawn. I am having a video coming up in the next few weeks that's going to show how to hatch these eggs and get about 90% hatch rate of the viable eggs. And it's not going to use methylene blue. I hate methylene blue. It stains everything else. A lot of people swear by it. I don't. What I do is I just put in a catopper leaf, kind of simulate natural conditions, and I get almost 90% hatch and no fungus, even after I wait to see if any fungus comes. So I'm going to show a video on that in the next few weeks. So if you like this video, you find it informative, please like it down below. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see videos of. I've raised lots of different kinds of fish. I also have pleco catfish. I'm going to do videos on how to breed them. I also have different types of Corydoras shrimp. I can show you on that. I've got different types of plants that I'm raising. I can give you videos on that. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I can even look up information for you if you would like. Just let me know. Also subscribe. That's going to help me out a lot. Also, that way you'll get notified. Click a little notification bell. You'll get notified of my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and have a good one, fishy folks. Get them eggs. We're going to show you how to hatch them soon.